Hello, Meoni here, and today I wanted to talk about Shadowbringers, as every other Final Fantasy YouTuber no doubt does too, but this is to directly reflect on the zone information we have for 5.0. So usually when an expansion comes out for Final Fantasy XIV, there are 6 new open zones with monsters, with Heavensward featuring the Sea of Clouds, the Dravanian Forelands, the Churning Mists, the Dravanian Hinterlands, Coerthas Western Highlands, and finally Azizlar, in an epic unveil. Stormblood had the Fringes, the Peaks, the Ruby Sea, the Azim Steppe, Yangsha, and then finally the Locks. This then is likely to be a trend that we see again in Shadowbringers. However, so far we have 5 names announced through various media, including the Shadowbringers special site. Colucia, the ragged wastes of the first version of Limsa Lominsa, where people have given up on any form of saviour, cast out the poor to the outside, and the rich hold up consuming luxuries and getting fat before the end of the world in their city of Ulmor. Orange, which is clearly the first mirror of Thanalan, with its vast deserts all around, where the flood of light was halted mysteriously, potentially as an implication that Minfilia was somewhat successful with her duty on the first. Ilmeg, the bright and over-the-top colour saturation, is host to the Feyfolk and much more. This is possibly the first version of Coerthas filled with large mountains and mysterious flora and fauna. Raktika could very well be the first version of the Shroud, filled with a vast carpet of trees and ruins of an ancient Ronkan empire. We very likely see parts of this burning in the trailer with Y'shtola and Urianger. If it isn't the source world, then it's likely to be here. And finally Lakeland, the area around our new hub, the city of the Crystarium, which is clearly in the first version of Mordona. But then you might realise this is only 5 zones. Well, in tradition, it's pretty much a given that they will attempt to surprise us with the final zone in-game, and won't want to release any information on it before then. So then comes the speculation. Where could it be? Will it be a 5th mirrored location from our source world, or could it actually be somewhere actually on the source? There's plenty of theories about how the MSQ will unfold, but one of the more interesting is that the final zone could be somewhere in the source, potentially even in Garlean territory. It sounds crazy, I know. Perhaps to retaliate in the battle we no doubt left behind, perhaps the battle isn't going too well how we left it, considering the Ascian threat back home, and potentially us leaving the Science to deal with that. Another theory, and probably more likely, is that the last zone would be part of a vast open white nothingness inside the flood of light itself, near to or at Eden. The reason many people think this is due to the information we have on Eden itself, how this plant, this sapling, which is potentially a take on the world tree Yggdrasil mythos, is key to restoring the Thirst, and could in itself be a final area containing the raid as well, similarly to how Azizlar contained the Warring Triad. It's fun to speculate, and I'm interested in your own theories. Personally, I'm more leaning towards the similar one to Azizlar. I think the Yggdrasil storyline is something that could be easily pulled off in this game, especially if I remember at some point, don't quote me on this, that Naoki Yoshida mentioned how this sprout is supposedly a place to store our power, which immediately reminds me of Lightning Returns, where they did this storyline there. Either way, let me know what you think below and what you think's going to happen, and ultimately where that final zone could be. Either way, Shadowbringers is just around the corner, and I'm incredibly hyped to say that. It's going to be a fun-filled time, and soon all of our questions will hopefully get resolved. Thank you all kindly for watching, and I'll see you all next time.